orders.
Many thanks. Fornire fuoco di supporto contro l'aereo.
Battleship destroyed.
Torpedoes to starboard. Approaching target. Torpedoes astern. Torpedoes astern.
Enemy destroyer blown up.
Engaging enemy. Fighter airborne. Engaging enemy. Engaging enemy. Approaching target. Engaging enemy.
Our victory is in sight.